thank you for the questions that have been coming in. We have a question about sport in particular. So is sport considered something that you could put under the umbrella of character education? And how is sport being integrated into the curriculum at Wickham Abbey, Howard?
Yeah, sport is a great subject for modeling situations where children need to really practice their relationships. There's nothing to help good manners fly out the window than a bit of competitiveness over a match or some sort of game, or any competitive situation. In sport, the good manners that we require, what we call sportsmanship or sportswomanship, whichever way, it's equally important. And as a teacher, of course, I've been involved in sport as part of my job. Cricket matches, I'm a lacrosse umpire, I'm a rugby umpire, a rugby referee, rugby coach, and a general PE teacher, as well as doing lots of outward bounds and outdoors and hiking and climbing and what have you with children over the years. All of these outdoor things, not just the narrow sort of idea of sport as a game played with a ball, but any outdoor activity where children are working either individually. There is a whole wealth of lessons to learn in individual sports. Long distance running is always a good one at schools, where it's just the child alone with themselves against a physical challenge. Rock climbing would be another one. It's not a team sport. There's nobody to help you. Fencing. These are all very individual efforts, and you're competing with yourself in your head. How far can you go? As well as working with a team. And a team is always very good when they're winning, and they're always very good and very, very cooperative in the first half. But goodness me, a bunch of under 15 boys in the last 10 minutes of a 15-minute rugby match, when they're exhausted and they're losing, you start to see the wheels of relationships coming off pretty swiftly. And the boy who can walk up to another boy when there's only 5 minutes left and they're all exhausted and they're wet and they're freezing cold, and his friend has just completely made the biggest mistake ever and probably cost them the match, and he can still walk up to him, pat him on the back and say, "Don't worry about it, you'll do better next time." That's when we've succeeded. I'm not really interested in what the score of the match is. That's the child that I'm educating, a girl on a lacrosse pitch, who's put herself absolutely on the line physically, has taken probably some hard blows, and can still smile and still encourage the team and talk to her teammates. These are massive learning opportunities. It's only by playing matches over and over and over that we come from just being involved in the ego, me, to being everything that's going on is bigger than me. And having the humility to work well in victory and the courage to work well in defeat. All of these are massive life lessons. So sport is huge. Wickham Abbey is still a very new school. And unfortunately, our entire career in the last 18 months has been impacted by COVID shutdown. So although we have outdoor facilities, we've never had more than actually 4 weeks at school to get things going. Just as we get going, we've gone shut down again. So we still have a huge sporting history to come, but we haven't got one yet.
No, I couldn't agree more, Howard. And it's interesting what you say about team sports, and so many parents. We could have another session on sports entirely, but it's like what you were saying earlier, Christine. Character education isn't something that we bolt onto the education. Sports isn't something extra that we just it's all integrated. They all work well together. I want to just pick up on something. Obviously, sports is a great vehicle for this, but other ideas or ways, Christine, on how to get children comfortable with failure. And again, I think that this is a little bit of maybe a modern parenting. We talk about the helicopter parents, or what's the expression where children are getting medals for participation. That kind of culture that we're living in now. Is it important that we allow children to fail?
I don't think it's important. I think it's essential. And I say that as an educator, but as a parent, it scares me, to let my, child fail. And I think I think the first thing in getting children to be resilient is to go back to the parents, and for parents to be okay with their children failing. Because if we don't even get the parents to that place, it's not going to work with their kids. So I do think it's an essential part of learning, because it's what gets the perseverance going, and that's what you're going to need. If you get a child who thinks that they are the best of the best all the time, well, it's going to hit them at some point in their lives that they are not. There's always going to be someone better than you. And then how do you take that? I mean, and I think for me, it's also that, you know, our confidence and our identity, just going back to the identity part, it shouldn't just be on, you know, my accomplishments. And so if I'm just, you know, top at everything, then I'm confident, I have a good sense of identity. Well, what if you're not top one day? You know, where does your confidence and where does your identity lie then? So I do think that we need to fail in order to have resilience as part of their identity. You know, it's not just, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, but, you know, when I mess up, I stand up again, and that's the important part. And I think it really starts with the parents, the educators, really focusing on the process more than the outcome. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk about growth mindset, right? That, you know, we can grow to be better. It's not static. And it takes that growth mindset to help our kids to come out of that. Just me personally, I remember when my child was in sports day, and I told him, I said, you know, the most important thing to me is that you get up after you fall. And I knew he was going to fall when, you know, if he's trying to run hard. And I was like, for me as a parent, my proudest moment was when he ran up to me at the end of, you know, a match at sports day, and he said, "Mommy, guess what? When I fell down, I got up again." And to me, that was so much better than him winning whatever place it was. And so I think it's whether we celebrate those things and we help them to get up, we help them to grow in confidence as they're going through these things, but to help them know that it's not you know, the outcome that I most care about. It's the process. It's that you're growing stronger, you're growing better, you're learning from your mistakes. That to me is more important. And I think if we can place importance in those things, I think it helps a child put importance in those things, and it makes them maybe even look forward, you know, to those encounters where they do fail, because they know that they will grow and learn from it. I do think that helping them experience that, you know, as they're young will really set them up for a much brighter future as they're growing older.
Yeah.